I will not tolerate such behaviour. If you want to go out now, but if you stand again, I'll lord you out. Make your mind up. Either shut up and get out.
Good evening. Tonight we bring you breaking coverage of what political observers are calling the most serious constitutional crisis in modern British history. It began behind closed doors at Windsor Castle. King Charles, in a departure from typical royal protocol, hosted a 2-hour private meeting with Nigel Farage and senior Reform UK officials. Unlike ceremonial encounters, sources describe this as a substantive policy discussion about Britain's political future. Reform UK presented a pamphlet titled Restoring Britain's Democratic Foundation, which accused Parliament of undermining constitutional balance. During the discussions, King Charles reportedly made a brief but significant remark. Perhaps it's time for fresh thinking. The current path seems unsustainable. Those 12 words would alter the course of British politics. The meeting was intended to remain confidential. Royal protocol strictly prohibits the monarchy from taking political sides. Yet within 48 hours, every major news outlet in Britain had obtained details of the encounter. The Times, the BBC, The Guardian, and the Daily Mail all ran prominent stories. Questions immediately arose. Who leaked the information? Reform UK had no incentive to publicize the meeting. Palace staff are bound by strict confidentiality. This left one primary suspect: Downing Street itself. Political analysts suggest Labour insiders concerned about royal interference may have deliberately released the story to embarrass the king. If that was the strategy, it produced unexpected consequences. When Prime Minister Keir Starmer learned of the meeting, witnesses report he reacted with unprecedented anger. According to cabinet sources, Starmer paced, shouted, and struck papers against the table during an emergency meeting. His deputy, Angela Rayner, later described him as possessed. Then came the statement that shocked Westminster. Starmer reportedly declared, "If Charles wants to play politics, I'll show him how the game is really played. The monarchy serves Parliament, not the other way around. He's forgotten his place." But Starmer didn't stop there. Sources claim he continued 300 years of constitutional nonsense, old men in fancy clothes playing dress-up. This is 2025, not 1725. If he wants a fight, he's got one. The room fell silent. Ministers later admitted these were the most shocking words they'd ever heard from a British prime minister. Starmer had crossed an unspoken line. The crown historically remains untouchable, above politics, beyond direct attack. Until now. Within hours, the story exploded across social media platforms. Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook saw hashtags like #DefendTheCrown and #StarmerTheRepublican trend globally. Memes proliferated faster than Labour could issue denials. Starmer photoshopped as Oliver Cromwell, the historical figure who executed King Charles I. Other images showed him ripping the Union Jack or locked in medieval stocks. The political discourse transformed into something resembling public trial by ridicule. Surprisingly, criticism didn't come solely from conservative quarters. Lifelong Labour supporters expressed dismay. Margaret Thompson, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Liverpool, posted a video that went viral. "We survived Thatcher. We survived Blair. But I can't survive a Labour leader who spits on the crown." The clip garnered 2.3 million views within 24 hours. Opinion polls confirmed Labour's nightmare. A YouGov survey showed 73% of Britons believed Starmer had overstepped. Labour's approval rating plummeted from 42% to 28% in a single day, an unprecedented collapse. In traditional Labour strongholds like Liverpool, Manchester, and Newcastle, support dropped by double digits. Nearly half of Labour's own voters indicated they were reconsidering their allegiance. Political analysts described it as not bad optics, but political suicide in real time. Inside Labour headquarters, panic transformed into open rebellion. MPs formed private WhatsApp groups, initially named Damage Control, that quickly became platforms for discussing leadership challenges. Transport Secretary Louise High became the first to resign, after what insiders described as a heated confrontation with the Prime Minister. Her resignation letter leaked immediately. "I cannot support a leader who shows open contempt for the constitutional monarchy and the millions of Britons who cherish it." Within hours, 2 junior ministers followed. Each departure weakened Starmer's position further. Chancellor Rachel Reeves, typically Starmer's staunchest defender, maintained conspicuous silence. She refused television interviews and declined to issue supportive statements. Political observers interpreted her silence as preparation for her own leadership bid. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner was no longer defending Starmer. Instead, she was conducting one-on-one meetings with MPs, offering reassurances and promising stability. Westminster insiders recognized the pattern. She wasn't positioning herself as his deputy anymore, but as his replacement. Veteran MP Diane Abbott delivered a blunt assessment. "In 40 years in this party, I've never seen a leader self-destruct like this." While Downing Street descended into chaos, Nigel Farage executed what political analysts are calling a masterclass in strategic positioning. Instead of attacking or gloating, Farage adopted a tone of quiet patriotism. Standing before Union Jacks, he declared, "While others attack our king, we defend him. While others forget Britain's traditions, we remember." No mockery, no inflammatory rhetoric, just steady, unwavering defense of British institutions. The contrast with Labour's turmoil was striking. Reform UK suddenly appeared as guardians of British identity, while Labour seemed intent on dismantling centuries of tradition. The results were immediate. Reform UK's membership surged 400% within 3 days. Small donor contributions flooded party coffers. Disillusioned Labour voters switched allegiances in significant numbers. For the first time, Farage wasn't merely a protest figure or political outsider. He had become a legitimate contender for power. Latest polling shows Conservatives at 32%, Labour fallen to 26%, and Reform UK surging to 24%, a three-way race unprecedented in modern British politics. Throughout this crisis, King Charles has said nothing. No statement, no speech, no public comment whatsoever. Yet constitutional experts suggest this silence may be his most effective response. Professor Sarah Matthews of Oxford explained, "The monarchy survives by remaining above politics. By saying nothing, Charles allows Starmer to damage himself. Every hour the king refuses to respond, the crown appears dignified while the prime minister appears desperate." Palace insiders suggest Charles feels wounded by being dragged into partisan conflict. The office he has dedicated his life to serving has been thrust into poisonous political theater. However, he maintains complete public composure. No anger, no sorrow, no visible emotion, just quiet strength. This dignified silence makes Starmer's outbursts appear even more intemperate, an attack not just on an individual, but on tradition itself. The crisis hasn't gone unnoticed internationally. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau praised constitutional monarchy as essential to democracy, a subtle but unmistakable rebuke of Starmer's position. Australian opposition leader Peter Dutton called Starmer's comments disgraceful and warned that Britain's international credibility was suffering. American news networks replayed Starmer's reported outbursts, with commentators describing it as a spectacular meltdown. Britain, long regarded as a model of political stability, has become the subject of global scrutiny and, in some quarters, ridicule. Tonight, Britain is divided. Outside Parliament, protesters fill the streets, some demanding Starmer's resignation, others calling for abolishing the monarchy entirely. The nation isn't simply divided. It appears to be fracturing along fundamental lines. Unconfirmed rumors suggest an emergency royal meeting may have taken place. Some sources claim abdication was discussed. Others suggest King Charles is considering invoking ancient constitutional powers rarely used in modern times. Could the king strike back? Or would that only validate Starmer's criticisms? Inside Westminster, the rebellion against Starmer has reached critical mass. WhatsApp groups that began as damage control operations have transformed into full-scale coup headquarters. Names of potential successors circulate constantly: Angela Rayner, Rachel Reeves, Yvette Cooper. Starmer's grip on power isn't merely slipping, multiple sources suggest it's already gone. As this crisis continues to unfold, several critical questions dominate political discourse. Can Starmer survive this unprecedented backlash, or is his premiership effectively over? Will King Charles respond publicly, or will his continued silence prove the more effective strategy?
Could Nigel Farage actually become Britain's next prime minister, capitalizing on this historic fracture? And perhaps most fundamentally, when a prime minister declares war on his king, who ultimately survives? This is a developing story. We'll continue to bring you updates as this constitutional crisis unfolds. The next chapter could reshape Britain's political landscape for generations to come. This has been a special report on the constitutional crisis facing Britain. We'll return with more coverage as events develop.